Welcome everyone. Consistent with section 747A of the Local Government Act 1993 and the current public health order, this meeting of Liverpool Plains Shire Council is being live streamed to Council's website. A webcast of this meeting will be published at Council's website at www.liverpoolplains.newsouthwales.gov.au so that it is available for viewing by members of the public. Acknowledgement of country and council prayer. Today we gather on the land of the Kamilaroi Nation. We therefore need to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of this land. We also pay our respects to the Aboriginal elders, both past and present, and further extend that respect to other adults who have joined us today. Council prayer. Lord, we ask that you watch over this council, guide us in our deliberations and decisions for the betterment of all the people of the Shire and Australia. Thank you. Apologies, an application for leave, nil I believe. Confirmation of minutes. 3.1, minutes of the council meeting held on the 22nd of March 2023. The recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 22nd of March 2023 be received and the recommendations therein be adopted. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cullen, seconded Councillor Allen. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cudmore? Did I say Cudmore or Allen? Cullen. I'll change that to Councillor Cudmore.
No,
you don't wish to speak to it?
No,
anyone else wishing to speak for it? Councillor Miles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just so we note that I was absent from that meeting, so this is the reason for my question in regards to this. I'm just wondering why the meeting held in December took till March to come to the council meeting, and with the fact that there's no report with it from our delegate, I'm wondering what the revised audit risk and improvement plan changes were. I think it's really important that the councillors are aware of what those changes are that come from the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In terms of, I'll answer the first part, in terms of why the December meeting come so late to council, the meetings don't come to council until the ARIC have actually ratified their minutes from the previous meeting. So there was a meeting in March of ARIC which ratified their December's meeting minutes. So that's why it's come to here. We have actually put that on the discussion point that they should come sooner, even if it says they are a draft set of minutes, so that what we're able to do is then provide the council with an update, and if there's a subsequent update to the minutes of the ARIC meeting, then we can bring that back to council at a later date. In relation to the changes, there weren't any specific changes to the items. What there was a change of when each item would be presented to the ARIC. So what we had in the original schedule was we had a very top-heavy meeting where there was a lot of reports in the vicinity of 19 due to come to the first ARIC meeting of the year, and then the later ARIC meetings didn't have as much in it. What we tried to do is space out the items that would go to ARIC so it becomes much more manageable over the course of the full year.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Webber.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 3.2, minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on the 16th of December 2022. The recommendation that the minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on the 16th of December be received and noted. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, seconder. Councillor Cullen, I've got Cullen right this time. Councillor Cullen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Lawson?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 4, disclosures of interest. Any disclosures of interest? Nil. Item 5, the mayoral minute, 5.1. Recommendation that council receive and note the mayoral minute for March 2023. I wish to move this report. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Cudmore. Did anyone wish to speak for or against that? Councillor Mullins?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just have a question. I wondered if you might be able to give me a little bit more information on your, I think it was the 8th and 9th of March visit to the Newcastle Port facilities, and maybe what that meeting was about, please. Thank you.
I can give you a brief rundown on that, Councillor Moles, but if you want an in-depth report, I can do a report and give to you.
That would be excellent. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
The rundown on that meeting was to listen to what the port had to say about the container terminal and how they're going to go about building it. But then I'll share the report from that meeting that's done by the committee down there with the rest of the council in the South Brown Council.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
No other speakers for or against that? If not, I'll put it. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.1, have I missed one? Did I miss one?
Inward correspondence and petitions, Mr Mayor.
Correspondence in nil. Item 7.1, Executive Services for April 2023. The recommendation that Council 1 receive and note the Executive Services report for April 2023. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cohen, seconder. Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cohen?
No, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.2, Resolution Register Update. The recommendation that Council receive and note the Resolution Register as at the 5th of April 2023, appended at Annexure A, and the Resolution Register for 2022 as appended at Annexure B. Do I have a move? Councillor Moles, a seconder. Councillor Cohen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Moles?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This resolution register is excellent to help us keep up to date on what has been completed. I did question 16 of 2023, because as at the time of the business paper, I think it should be completed, not currently in progress. So that's all I really have to say, but it's really handy to have these reports come through like this. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Councillor Cohen?
Mr Mayor, it's drawn the attention of the staff to the issues and commentaries where they have listed 3 complete items in the 23s, and then when you look at the report it says there are 2, and as Councillor Moles has just pointed out, there is probably one there that should be shown as completed that's not. So we have a typo or something in relation to the reports, but other than that, yes, it's an excellent report. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Cohen. Did you wish to speak to that? Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? That's noted, Councillor Cohen. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.3, request for waiving of fees. The recommendation that Council 1 approve to waive the higher fees for the community hub, for Push, for Palliative, and the Willow Tree Hall for the biggest morning tea pursuant to section 610E of the Act. Do I have a mover? Councillor Allen. A seconder? Councillor Lawson. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Allen?
Just to highlight how important both these organisations are to, in regards to the charity status that they hold, and this is a yearly event, so I'd be strongly encouraged for the, not only the council to accept it, but also the community to get out and show their support for both organisations. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Allen. I would support that, and most of those community organisations that utilise the library, that's exactly why we built it. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Wynne.
Does that mean the morning tea, they get the hall for nothing, and just a donation for the electricity, etc.? Thank you.
Councillor Wynne, you've still got your mic on.
Thanks, Councillor Wynne. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.4, Corporate and Community Services Directorate Report for April 2023. The recommendation that Council 1 receive and note the Corporate and Community Services Directorate briefing for March 2023 as detailed in this report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Miles, a seconder. Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Miles?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Cudmore.
Just a clarification, please, Mr Mayor. On human resources, the Pulse onboarding system, what is that?
GM.
Through you, Mr Mayor. So Pulse is the name of the company, the onboarding system is the module. So what happens is when we get new employees, at the moment, in the past, they used to get a whole bunch of paper to fill out. What happens now is we're able to provide all that information electronically, they can provide it back electronically, and then that way we can get through it a lot faster. The employees then have access to that whenever they want, for as long as they work for council. So what it enables us to do is to do a lot more induction, speed up the process and have a better history of it.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.5, Statement of Investments for March 2023. The recommendation that Council receive and note the Statement of Investments as at the 31st of March 2023 as appended at NHLA. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, a second. Councillor Cutman, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Lawson? Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Cowan.
Mr Mayor, I'd just like to again ask the council staff about the split between the externally restricted cash reserves and the internally restricted cash reserves. I just would like to see noted in this report, it comes to us either at least quarterly or maybe even monthly, some sort of a quantification of what the external versus internal amounts are within this report. Thank you.
GM.
Through you, Mr Mayor, so we don't tend to account for our reserve movements throughout the year, we only account for it at year end, so I don't believe that would be easily possible for us to do it outside of the QBRS period.
Is that, that's a requirement in your reporting standards, but is it not something that you would be able to include for just for the purposes of council? Why is it not a benefit to us to know what money we have internally available to us and opposed to what is externally confined that must be met to external projects?
GM.
Certainly it is important for council to know that, but we only account for what is restricted and unrestricted at the end of the financial year or at the quarterly budget review stage. So it's not something we can provide you with monthly. It sits within our annual budget operational plan for the most part.
Thanks, Councillor Cohen. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.6, Local Advisory Groups. Recommendation that Council 1 receive and note the minutes of the Parabubula Local Advisory Group as appended at MHRA. 2, receive and note Olga for Nusaran. Withdrawal of her expression of interest for the Prima Local Advisory Group. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, seconder. Councillor Cudmore. Did you wish to speak with Councillor Lawson?
Yes. There seems to have been a lot going on with the Currawong Local Advisory Group again, which is great. I just noticed they're still asking about the bulk water filling, and I just wondered if we had provided them with an update on that directly. I know we discussed it before. They may have had that since these minutes were done, so yeah, just wondering if they've been updated on that.
To you.
So they have not, to my knowledge, they've not yet been updated, but we'll certainly do so after this meeting.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Miles.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just want to reiterate what Councillor Lawson said. I've asked previously about the access to this water system, and the response was that it was raw water, and that's why it wasn't accessed. There seems to be two issues here. One is the raw water system, and the other one is the tank. I'm sure some councillors, some previous council will remember that when it was installed under the drought funding and the tank was donated, and at the time it was mooted to connect the hall water, so the roof water, to the tank. It doesn't make much sense to me to have this tank in this roof catchment area and not have it being used. So I'm pleased to hear that something will be done after this meeting, and you'll be interested to see the response from this group in their next meeting. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Miles. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.7, Public Exhibition Draft Operational Plan for 2023-24, Draft Fees and Charges Schedule 23-24, and Draft Long-Term Financial Plan 23-34. The recommendation that Council 1 place the Draft Operational Plan 23-24 appended at Annexure A on public exhibition for a period of a minimum of 28 days. 2, place the draft fees and charges schedule 23-24 appended at Annexure B on public exhibition for a period of a minimum of 28 days. 3, place the draft long-term financial plan 24-34 appended at Annexure C on public exhibition for a period of a minimum of 28 days. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cohen, a seconder. Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cohen?
An amendment to that.
Amendment, yep.
Just with the addition on item 2 of placing the draft fees and charges schedule for 2023-2024 appended at Annexure B on public exhibition for a period of 28 days, with the addition of another fee for the hire of the hub at the library for not-for-profit organisations at $20 an hour.
So we'll
Do
now,
I have a seconder?
do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Allen? So now we'll, sorry? Did you want to speak? Yep.
Just speaking to that amendment, there is currently a charge for not-for-profits to hire the hub community facility there at the library for an entire day for $110 when the commercial charge is $150. The charge per hour for all users is set at $30 per hour. So this amendment would make it $20 per hour for not-for-profits that perhaps want to hire it only for a couple of hours for a meeting or something like that.
So now we're voting on the amendment to allow non-for-profit organisations to hire the community hub for $20 an hour. That's been moved by Councillor Lawson and seconded by Councillor Allen. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Lost. I declare that lost. 7.8. Sorry. Oh, the original motion, sorry, yeah, sorry. My mistake. That amendment's been lost, so we go back to the original motion, which is 1, place the draft operational plan 23-24 appended in Annexure A on public exhibition for a period of a minimum of 28 days. 2, place the draft fees and charges schedule 23-24 appended in Annexure B on public exhibition for a period of a minimum of 28 days. 3, place the draft long-term financial plan 24-34 appended in Annexure C on public exhibition for a period of a minimum of 28 days. Is there a mover for that?
We already have a movement.
Oh, sorry, it was Councillor Cohen and Councillor Cohen, Councillor Allen. Did you wish to speak to that, Councillor Cohen?
No, I'm fine, Mr Mayor, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against that motion? Councillor Miles?
Mr Mayor, I'd like to propose an amendment as well, because the recommendation doesn't tell us what's going to happen after the 28 days. So I'd like to propose that it comes back to council, there be a floor that says that after the 28-day period, it be brought back to council for ratification. Thank you.
Second.
Seconded Councillor Lawson. So now we're debating Councillor Miles' amendment to, you want to speak to it? No.
Through you, Mr Mayor, just to comment, Councillor Miles, it has to come back to council under the Act anyway, because it has to be adopted by council. So whether there's a 0.4 or not, it will be coming back to council before 30 June without fail.
Mr Mayor, I'd still like to stay by it because I'd like it to be in writing. Even though it might be an act,
Okay,
I'd stay with it.
So now we're debating Councillor Miles' amendment, which is for this resolution to come back to council. Has been seconded? Councillor Lawson. So any further discussion on
Yes,
this?
thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, Mr Mayor. I respect what Mr Webber's informed the council. However, reading some of the past papers, some of the amendments that were asked to be taken into account have not been put in papers. And even though it's been moved and seconded at the council meeting, with those changes to be made, reading the papers, and I'm talking about the papers in February, so I'd like to see it in the papers that it comes back to council. It may be an act, it might be an operational thing that they have to do it, but I want to see that this council has said we want it to come back here. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
That amendment's already been moved and seconded. I'll therefore put the motion. Those in favour of the amendment? Those against? I'll declare that carried. Oh, sorry. I've got to go through that.
I think it takes into account the amended motion is that plus.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just read the motion through. The recommendation that council public exhibition draft operational plan 2023-24, draft fees and charges scheduled for 23-24 and draft long-term financial plan 23-24. The amendment, did you write that amendment down? Is that amendment written down?
So the amendment will be that a further report come back to council for the adoption of the plan following the exhibition period.
Thanks, GM. So now we've already moved and seconded. I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
We already.
Oh, it's already done, sorry. Okay, so we're happy now?
Yeah.
Item 7.8, the Community Funding Program Round 22-23. The recommendation that Council A approve the following grant allocations. Corribubula PNC to purchase a market umbrella, 1,500. Plains Inc. or Plains Incorporated, hire a photographer for marketing campaign, $1,500. Corindi Dressage Club, purchasing of judging tables, $1,398.98. Corindi Polo Carnival Club, equipment hire Polo Carnival, pending provision of updated certificate of currency, $1,500. Corindi Branch Children's Medical Research Institute, Denim and Diamonds event, $1,500. Werris Creek Rugby Club, Old Boys event, $1,500. Blackville Markets, auspiced by Plains Incorporated, Blackville Markets, $1,500. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, a seconder, Councillor Miles. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Lawson?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.9, adoption of draft privacy policy and draft privacy management plan. The recommendation of council, 1, place the draft privacy policy appended to Annexure A on public exhibition for a period of 28 days and adopt the draft policy as exhibited, subject to no submissions being received, and 2, note the draft privacy management plan appended to Annexure B. Do I have a move? Councillor Miles, seconder. Councillor Cudmore, do you wish to speak to it, Councillor Miles?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.10, Audit Risk and Improvement Committee Meeting Plan 22-24. The recommendation of Council 1, endorse the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee 22-24 Meeting Plan contained at Annexure 1. We'll have a mover. Councillor Lawson, seconded Councillor Cohen. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Lawson?
Just to say that this is the meeting plan that was changed, that Councillor Miles was asking about before, and shows all the items that will be considered at the meetings coming up.
Thanks, Councillor Lawson. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Miles.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's actually a question about the committee meeting plan. I had a note down here that there was no date set for the external audit letter and also the chair's report, but I just know there is something there for the chair's report. But is there a reason that we don't have a time frame for the external audit letter put down in this Audit and Risk Committee's plan? Thank you, Mr Mayor.
GM?
Yep, it's actually listed down there with the financial statements. So for the November meeting. Presentation of the financial statements.
Yeah, so it is. Thank you very much. There you go, too many ticks. Well done. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.11, adoption of draft contract management policy. The recommendation that council place the draft contract management policy appended at Annexure A on public exhibition for a period of 28 days and adopt the draft policy as exhibited, subject to no submissions being received. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, a seconder. Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Lawson?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.12, adoption of draft procurement policy. The recommendation that council place the draft procurement policy appended in Annexure A on public exhibition for a period of 28 days and adopt the draft policy as exhibited, subject to no submissions being received. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cohen, seconded Councillor Lawson. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cohen?
No, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.13, Infrastructure and Environmental Services Directorate Report for April 2023. The recommendation that Council will receive and note the Infrastructure and Environmental Services Directorate Report for the month of April 2023. I have a mover. Councillor Cohen, a seconder. Councillor Cudmore, did you wish to speak, Councillor Cohen?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of points that I'd like some clarification on the major project update, which is of course the Werris Creek Industrial Precinct. I notice here that we working with the designers to finalise this design. I was under the impression that most of the finalisation of the design was taken before we applied for the additional funding, which has now been approved. This backward and forwarding, I just want to know whether this is putting us out there to risk more price escalations in relation to this work. And, what the probability of those things happening are. We've already been caught once and it wouldn't be good to be caught out again. And the project, I would have thought, should have been voluntarily going forward at this point.
Jim?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So, apologies, I might have given you the wrong information. So the design was at a 50% stage when we did the initial costing of the project and realised that it was beyond our original budget of 9.1 million. The design has stayed stagnant at that point until we got either a confirmation from the state government that we could alter the scope or increase funding. So the design's about 50% done, so it's finalising the construction details of that design. So that's where it is up to. So there's no major changes expected for the design, it's just finalising the construction details for all those structures and whatnot.
Yeah, if I may, that's another point. Just the other matters that are on the report. The infill clubhouse in relation to the showground grant. I'm just wondering if we are on, running the budget on that one, or whether we're managing to get the facility that was expected for the remaining costs on that grant, if I could please.
Jim?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So in terms of running to budget, it's not far off the mark, but it's running okay. However, I note that the previous report to council for the December quarterly budget review included funding from a sale of block of land that council had approved, but then the sale has fallen through as the purchaser has withdrawn. So there's some funds that were previously allocated towards it that were thought to be available that are no longer available. So we'll be reviewing that again in the March quarterly budget review statement. And with regards to hitting the target of it, it's not the ideal outcome that we were searching for, but it has been designed to allow for an expansion in the future should it be needed.
Okay, continue, Mr. Mayor. Within the Caravan Park upgrades, I noticed that most of the work over there has been completed. I'm just wondering whether we'd be able to complete that work within the initial estimate of costing, which I think we allowed $50,000 at some point previous to allow for those upgrades. I'd like to know exactly where they're at this point in time, and whether it's we still have anybody interested in relation to the ongoing proposal of leasing that venue.
Jim?
So regarding the costs, I'll have to take that question on notice. I'm not 100% across exactly where we're up to, but I believe it's very close to the original approved budget. And yes, we do still have an interested party, and I'll be contacting them in the coming weeks to finalise their potential offer for the running of the Caravan Park.
Thank you. Going a little bit further, if I may, Mr. Mayor, in relation to the Longfield Oval lighting. I noticed in this brief overview of what's proposed, it probably does not exactly come out as was probably proposed or spoken about with the users before the funding was approved or was sought. I note here with the expressions of interest being prepared to upgrade the lighting, that there is a proposal to replace the existing lights on the light poles on number 1, to put 6 luminaries on there instead of the 5 that are there. And then for oval number 2, for 5 luminaries per pole to be replaced on those existing poles with a new 25 metre tall poles. The initial proposal, as I understood it, was that the lighting towers on number 1 oval would be removed and placed on number 2 oval with 5 luminaries. The reason for that being that the existing poles, being wooden poles on number 2, too old. They wouldn't stand the wind pressures and things anyway. And on a review that was done for the lighting required on number 1, it was found that the lighting poles, lighting towers that are presently there are actually located in the wrong position to get the correct luminaries onto that oval, to upgrade it to the standard that was being asked for. And therefore the proposal was originally to put new pole, the new 25 extra height on number 1. And as I said, the towers on number 1 then moved to number 2. So this is completely different to what I thought was the proposal for that lighting that was first extended or applied for. So if there are no comments on filming.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so we have had a design done on the luminaires and what lighting is needed for both ovals. So placing 6 luminaires on the existing poles on oval number 1 does meet the requirements of, I can't remember the exact category, but it's an average of 125 lux across the entire field, which from my recollection was the target that we discussed with cricket in particular, cricket being the defining usage case because of the small ball. And similarly on oval 2, the same design has taken place, and relocating the poles was considered not to be an economic option, so it'll be replacing those poles with suitable ones on oval 2 and including 5 luminaires there as well. So as I understand, it does achieve the goals that we're looking at for cricket in particular. It is a different design than what was initially discussed. You are correct.
Mr. Mayor, I'll just check if I've got any other notes here on this report without that. Just one more if I can. Again, on Parks and Gardens, and it's in relation to the undulations that have appeared on the number 1 oval property. I'm just asking whether the resurfacing of that oval will in any way impair the in-ground watering system, and whether there will be any work required to bring it back up. Like, will it cause a depth of top grade that will mean that some of those watering heads may have to be lifted, or if the extra service if it's resurfaced, will cause any other things.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so we're still just looking at our design options for that, so I can't comment on what the impact may be, but it will certainly be considered when we start designing out the works.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Cohen. If there's no further, Councillor Lawson. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one mundane item and one that is more about councillors involved. The mundane item being that I noticed that there was some pest control being done. I have noted just from my personal observation that our brand new PA system, the portion of which is installed in the old canteen at the showground, is open to mice damage. It's in a building that is constantly inundated with mice. There was mice in there the day I was in there. I'm very concerned that if we don't take steps that expensive system could be damaged, so I just request that that's looked into. The other point was I noticed about the planning that's taking place on the growth management housing strategy and all the tasks that are involved in that, and it looks like that will come to council once they've gone through those steps. But I was just wondering if there was an opportunity that councillors would be able to workshop in this process and be involved in this process, because we might be able to offer some insight into that process, just knowledge of the area. Thank you.
Jim?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, the issue over the infield clubhouse with the PA system we are well aware of, and we're doing our best to mitigate that as we can. With regards to the growth management strategy, certainly the intention is to bring council in to that once we've done the preliminary data analysis and mapping, to then bring council in and say, well, what's council's vision for how this should look and what the long-term strategy should be. So that is certainly the intention as we get to that stage.
Thank you.
Councillor Cutmore?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just take over Councillor Cohen took off. Just the showground infill, the user group supported by the council completed preparing an infill ground service for solar plans on the first week of May. I can raise this with Mr. Skelly, just about the injury to Ron Easy. If Ronnie was involved in the user group, his insurance, we're just concerned about where the insurance comes through, whether it's a there must be some form of insurance for volunteers through the showground. That's number one. And then also on Milner Parade, Barnson Engineering have been engaged in concept design for the clubhouse. But why would you go for concept design before you actually ask what the stakeholders really want? Because we want the same sort of building, or you just want a simple design like the one on the old tennis courts, and just we go through which will cost us for the design, and then all of a sudden I say, well, we don't want that. And also the Kokoda track, why would we receive a $100,000 grant for a concept design, which is fine, but the cost of the Kokoda track years ago was exceptionally high. There was no way we were ever going to be able to fund it. It's nice to have the design, which I think, but if you're never going to get the funding, it just seems a waste of $100,000 of the government's money. Thank you.
Do you want me to answer that? I'll start from the bottom one. I can answer the one on the Dakota proposal. The $100,000 that we've been granted is for the, as you rightly said, for the scoping works for that. The rest of the money is intended to come from grants that the committee will apply for with that funding, not the council.
Yeah.
There'll be no cost to the council. It'll all be done through that private committee. So the scoping works that needs to be done before the government have come back and said, well, until you can do that feasibility study, we can't even look at the fund. Jim?
So how the infield works, so I'm investigating that incident, and we're currently forming up a response to yourself, Deputy Mayor, about what that may look like. And then the clubhouse, we have been working with the tennis club on what they want to see from that. So they have been consulted in the initial concept design that we've done, and there will be a report coming to council in May to give an update on where that concept design's up to and where council wants to go from there.
So the decision to knock the old clubhouse
Has not been taken.
has not been made yet.
No.
Thank you.
That was your council.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against that motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.14, Town Water Supply Status. The recommendation that council receive and note the water supply status report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, seconder. Councillor Miles. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Lawson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just noticed that there has been quite a few complaints coming out of Werris Creek as to the quality of the water. I know that we are hoping that the Quality Water Project when it's finished in October. We'll redress all of that. But I just wondered if I know that there's testing done regularly. I was just wondering if there's any testing done at the point that this water is coming out of people's meters in the parts of town that are being affected, just to check that the water quality is right at that point, not just at the source.
Jim?
James Mayor, so part of our quality assurance for water supplies is we do have to do testing out of various take-off points within the network, so we don't just verify it into the reservoir, we also have to verify it through the network to make sure that we keep appropriate chlorination through. So taste and odour is not a metric that we have to demonstrate because it's subjective anyway, so certainly understand with the high algae counts that we have at the moment, that could very well be an issue. However, water does pass all Australian drinking water guidelines.
Is it hoped that those issues will be rectified once the new quality water treatment plant is operational? Or is there some concern that the pipes themselves in Werris Creek could be causing some of the discolorations or odour issues or taste issues?
Jim?
Through the Mayor, it is expected that the Quality Water Project will deal with this. So the Quality Water Project has many more treatment processes in it than our current treatment plant, so it gives us a lot more levers to pull, if you like, to improve the quality of the water. So the pipelines may have some impact on it, but at the most part, the biggest part is the water source. That is the biggest struggle, and the water treatment plant's been designed to deal with that.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Mullins?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just following on from that, I do know there's been some regular flushings of pipes in the town recently, and I think that's great because it's clearing some of those old pipes out. Doesn't matter what you do at the treatment centre, if you've still got old pipes and they haven't been flushed, so they are being flushed out, and there's always going to be a problem, I think, when you've got an influx of that amount of water coming through. But what I wanted to add, Mr Mayor, was the fact that everywhere that they've flushed the pipes, we've developed leaks. They're not being sealed off again, and everywhere you go around town and have access to lines, it's leaking there. So whether it's an increased pressure or it's disturbed something, seal, I'm not sure. But, so just to bring that to the attention of our General Manager. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Mullins. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.15, Queen Polly Water Project Construction Progress Report. The recommendation that Council receive and note this month's progress of the Queen Polly Water Project's design and construction phases. Do I have a mover? Councillor Allen, seconded Councillor Lawson. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Allen? No. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Lawson.
Just that I would like to see perhaps some of these images put out to the community. I'm not sure if we have, I haven't seen them come up myself. There's some pretty amazing works being done out there. It's a massive project. We're on the home stretch. I just think it would be great for the community to see what's going on out there and how much is being committed to improving the water quality for Werris Creek.
Thanks, Councillor Lawson, that's noted. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.16, Draft Heavy Haulage Contribution Plan. The recommendation that Council adopt the Liverpool Plains Heavy Haulage Contribution Plan as exhibited. Do I have a move? Councillor Cudmore, seconder. Councillor Cullen. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cudmore?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.17, proposal to install a return and earn facility at Corindi landfill. Recommendation that council accept the offer from Tomra Collection Australia to install a recycling vending machine at the Corindi landfill. 2, accept Tomra's contribute $7,000 towards the headworks required to install the RBM. 3, accept that council installs the security fencing around the RBM at a cost of $12,500, provide free power and free rent for 3 years, commencing on the first day of operation of the RBM. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cullen. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Lawson. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cullen?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I think this is a pleasing result in relation to what we previously discussed at other meetings and getting a recycling vending machine for the Corindi area and for the Little Plain Shire. However, I have a query in relation to point 3 of the motion in relation to the fencing and the cost of the fencing. Just querying why it's not the responsibility of the contractor to secure his facility and make it accessible. What will be the operational hours if this fencing is put in? Is it fencing that will completely shut the facility off to the public at some time, or is it only fencing to keep it removed from our landfill site?
Jan?
Mr. Mayor, so it is not intended to shut the facility off, as you identified with any questions, to separate that facility from our landfill site. So at the moment it's not well defined and there's not a great fence there, so that's what that fencing is for.
Yeah, because, and the fencing contract is, what type of fencing is it for this sort of, and what amount of fencing? Is that quoted price, obviously, I think would be fairly excessive. I don't know what the extent of fencing is, but if the GM could maybe just elaborate a little bit on how much fencing there is and where the cost has been procured.
Jan?
Sorry, Councillor, I don't have that detail on me, but I will look into it and I'll take it on as and get back to you.
Yeah, fair enough, that's recommended.
Anyone else wishing to speak for it? Councillor Miles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm a little bit confused because the mover has moved the recommendation but has the concerns that I had in point 3. And as such, if there's any part of the recommendation that you are not comfortable with, you probably shouldn't move the recommendation. However, it has been moved and I'm indicating at this stage until I hear the right of reply that I'll probably be voting against this. I have concerns that when we discussed this previously, Tomra said the site was not suitable and they wouldn't come to the party, so we knocked them back. They're now saying they can use it, but they want us to provide free power and free rent. There's no such thing as free power. In fact, power's going up. So somebody's going to have to pay for that, and there is no costing put into this recommendation as to what it's going to cost council. The free rent, probably we've got land use there anyway, so it's probably not a problem that we're not going into renting. I can live with that. But the fact that there is no financial indications in this recommendation, I have to speak against it. However, I will listen to the right of reply and that may change my mind. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Did you wish to speak further on it?
I wanted to speak for the motion. But if you wanted to reply to that, I don't know.
Did you wish to reply?
I'll speak for the motion. This is.
Put your microphone.
Oh, sorry. We've got to remember this is a facility for the community. It's not something that's about an investment for council. With regards to the electricity cost, I believe that's because it would actually cost more for us to install a sub-meter to meter the electricity for them than what the little amount of electricity that we'll actually use. So that is the reason for that. As far as the security fencing goes, am I to understand that that's replacing an existing fence around the landfill? Or it's inadequate, it's not so much a requirement of Tonga, but something that we are adding to this to make it more secure as far as the differentiation between the landfill. So I don't think that's, I think that requirement is something that's come about because councillors didn't want the facility to be at Longfield Oval Car Park. We wanted it to be at the waste facility in Corindai. Or that was the overriding feeling. So this is a requirement of having it there that has led to that. So I would be for the motion because this is a facility that the community wants, and I think this is our very last chance to get it. Thank you.
Did you wish to speak on it? If there's no further speakers for or against, councillor Wynne.
Oh, I was going to say, is there an insurance policy involved in this? Do we have to insure that facility, or are they responsible for their own insurance?
GM?
Through the mayor, so there would be joint insurance on it. As a landowner, we're never exempt from issues should it result from our land. So they would have to insure any risk of injury with hardware on the site. However, we would have to insure the risk of injury for any issue on the land as it is to our land. So there'd be joint policies, but yes, it will be adequately insured.
If there's no further speakers for or against the motion, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 8, Delegates' Reports, 8.1. Delegates' Report, Australian Railway Museum Committee meeting. Recommendation that Council receive and note the Delegates' Report of the Australian Railway Museum Committee meeting held on the 19th of April 2023 as at Annexure A. We'll have a mover. Councillor Miles, a seconder. Councillor Cullen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Miles?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to thank Councillor Wynne for the opportunity to attend this meeting. It was quite a productive meeting, as you can see by my report. I was called out a little bit. Apparently I have a section in their meeting that the Liverpool Plain Shire Council delegate is asked to do a report on. So I had nothing prepared. So I gave them a little update on the treatment plant. I did tell them that it was set for September, but may be delayed slightly. So that's why that's in the report. So just with my report, I hope it's of use to the councillors. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Wynne. Sorry, mate.
Regarding the air conditioning there, was that mentioned there, Councillor Miles, the air conditioning?
I believe it's in the report, Councillor Wynne. Yes.
And the painting?
That's also in the report, Councillor Wynne.
Thank you.
Councillor Cullen.
Look, I have a comment to just thank Councillor Miles for the time in putting together his report and that it was very informative and comprehensive. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cullen. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 9, notices of motion, questions with notice here. Item 10, confidential matters. Recommendation that Council considers the confidential reports listed below in a meeting closed to the public in accordance with section 10A bracket 2 of the Local Government Act 1993. 10.1, sale of land for unpaid rates and charges, progress report. This matter is considered to be confidential under section 10A bracketed 2 dash bracketed D, bracketed I, bracketed D, and bracketed D of the Local Government Act, and the Council is satisfied that discussions of this matter in an open meeting would on balance be contrary to the public interest as it deals with commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it, information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a competitor of the council, and information that would, if disclosed, reveal a trade secret. 10.2, tender number 125999872, proposed Willow Tree landfill construction. This matter is considered to be confidential under section 10A, bracketed 2, bracketed C of the Local Government Act, and the council is satisfied that discussion of this matter in an open meeting would, on balance, be contrary to the public interest, as it deals with information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom the council is conducting or proposes to conduct business. 10.3, request to reside in the caravan. This matter is considered to be confidential under section 10A, bracketed 2, bracketed B of the Local Government Act, and the council is satisfied that discussion of this matter in an open meeting would, on balance, be contrary to the public interest, as it deals with discussion in relation to the personal hardship of a resident ratepayer. I have a mover, Councillor Cohen, seconder, Councillor Moles. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Right to go. The recommendation on that was resolved, how many? 5. No?
I don't believe we have a resolution for the last item, Mr. Mayor.
Have a
I
resolution.
don't believe we have a resolution because it's been defeated, so there was no alternative put up, so there is none.
There's nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm just trying to sort out the first one. Okay. Confidential matters, item 10.1, sale of land for unpaid rates and charges, progress report. Authorise the general manager to bid the sale of land for unpaid rates, auction on the 12th of May 2023, for properties listed in Annexure B to this report, up to the maximum. Oh, sorry. So you want 2A read out? I'll start again with that, my apologies. Receive the progress report on sale of land for unpaid rates and charges. 2, defer lot 42 DP 1153273 to a future year, sale of land for unpaid rates and charges. Or authorise the general manager to bid at the sale of land for unpaid rates, auction on the 12th of May 2023 for properties listed in Annexure B to this report, up to the maximum amounts indicated in Annexure B. 4, authorise the general manager to execute contracts and all other documentation necessary to complete the transfer of properties purchased by council at the sale of land for unpaid rates, auction on the 12th of May 2023. 5, receive a further report at its ordinary meeting scheduled for the 22nd of June 2023, detailing any properties which are purchased at the sale of land for unpaid rates, auction on the 12th of May 2023, and to consider classifying each property as community land in accordance with section 34 of the Local Government Act 1993. This was resolved 6-1. 10.2, tender for the Willow Tree landfill construction. The recommendation on that, what was the vote on that? 7-0. 1, reject all tenders received for the construction of the Willow Tree landfill due to tender prices received exceeding available budget. Delegate the general manager to invite alternative submissions from the tenders on the construction of the Willow Tree landfill to determine a feasible and cost-effective solution to align with council's available budget. This was resolved 7 unanimous. Item 10.3 was rejected.
No motion was lost.
Item 10.3, the motion was lost. Being no further business, I declare the meeting closed. 4:35.
Don't you have to read the recommendation?
I just did.
No, it's lost.
Or 10.3, you don't have to.